Hello everyone. In this video I want to talk about why I think if you decide to learn Japanese pitch accent, you should train yourself to hear it instead of learning rules, and then I want to show you how I was able to teach myself to hear it. When I speak to native speakers, one of the most common comments I get is about my intonation, so I think this was quite effective for me. So before we get into it, I just want to stress that no matter what shrewd marketing tactics have led you to believe, learning pitch isn't necessary. For a start, I don't think it's nearly as important as the pitch professionals will have you believe, and even immersion with a bit of speaking practice is more than enough to achieve a spoken intonation that is sufficiently natural. Whether it's actually worth learning is a subject I plan to make another video about, but suffice to say that if you have made the decision to learn, this is what I believe to be the most effective way. Don't learn rules. If you want to acquire pitch accent to improve your accent, the way most people seem to go about it is finding a detailed explanation and trying to memorize rules. If you actually enjoy reading about these rules, then go for it. If not, this way of doing it is not only a complete waste of time, but I actually think it can be detrimental to your speaking ability. First of all, not only are there too many rules, but they're too complex and there are so many exceptions and inconsistencies, which would make it maddeningly difficult to memorize and learn the rules. Of course, this doesn't mean that it's theoretically impossible to perfectly memorize and know all the rules and every possible pattern. The only problem is when you try to speak. The more you try to remember rules and calculations while simultaneously trying to speak, the more you simply sabotage your spoken ability and fluency. This is because you'll be using concentration and effort trying to control your pitch consciously. Effort and concentration that could have been used towards actually speaking well and other facets of communication. Now you might be thinking, but what if I learn the rules to help me learn to hear it better? But why would you bother learning the rules when you can get similar results for less effort? The problem is too that once you consciously learn rules, no matter how well you've acquired and internalized it, it can be nearly impossible to switch off that conscious interference during speaking. This goes for any sort of rules and conscious analysis in my experience, but Japanese learners, even immersion learners, seem to have a strange fixation with pitch accent in particular. So why is teaching yourself to hear it the better way? If you learn to hear without forcing yourself to pay attention to all the useless rules, you'll train yourself to be aware of how the intonation goes up and down in your listening input. After lots of listening input, you'll eventually get an intuitive sense of what sort of intonation sounds right and natural. You'll be able to self-correct when you speak without having to rely on rules and perform mental calculations while you speak. Simply making yourself aware of the pitch and intonation and focusing probably will still cause some conscious interference and slow you down when you try to speak, but the extra cognitive load will be significantly less compared to actually learning the rules. It will require less effort and it won't sound as forced or artificial when you speak. How to learn to hear pitch accent. First, you'll need to download the flashcard software Anki. Next, go to the shared Anki decks page. Here you can find a library of flashcard decks other users have made that are available for anyone to download. Find and download the NHK OJAD pitch accent deck and then open it in Anki. So if you see here, the deck is designed so that the word is on the front and you have to try and remember the pitch pattern, then find out if you are correct by checking the back of the card, which contains the audio and diagram. This is a waste of time, in my opinion, since you'll be memorizing useless information about the word without actually learning to hear the difference. What we want to do is to flip it around so the audio is on the front. In doing this, you'll hear the word first, then try to hear what the intonation is doing, then check the diagram to see if you are correct, thereby giving instant feedback and directly training your ear to hear it. To do this, click on Edit, then click Cards up here. Go into Back Template and highlight this text here. This is the audio on the back of the card. So what we want to do here is copy this and paste it in Front Template, which means that the audio will play on the front of the card. Click Save and now it's ready for use.
言う
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 思う
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 Unfortunately, I'm not sure how to get the diagram off the front of the card, so you'll probably just have to close your eyes every time a new card pops up to avoid spoiling the answer. When you're learning the cards, what you want to do is listen to the word, and then try to hear where the accent drops, which is indicated by the red and overhanging line. Then check to see if you heard it correctly. Some words don't have a drop at all, which is something to pay attention to. If you got it, send it off to be reviewed in the future. If you didn't get it, keep trying until you do. If you keep doing this at least a little bit each day, it will become easier and easier, and eventually you'll start picking up on the intonation in your immersion more clearly too, which will go towards helping you produce it in your output. In fact, you don't even need to hear which specific syllable the accent is on. Just being able to determine whether there is a drop or not is enough to train your ear. So that's it. That's all you have to do if you want to learn pitch. There's no need to waste your time and effort knowing the difference between hadakanaka or atamabaka and all those useless patterns and rules. There's a part 2 of this deck, so if you don't feel confident after finishing part 1, you can also try that. If you found this useful, please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comment section if there are any topics you'd like me to make a video about. Thanks for watching.